It's over, everybody. Pack it up. We gotta go. We're cooked. I'm leaving. I'm going away. I'm leaving society right now. I feel like the professor in Futurama, where he's like, I don't want to live on this planet anymore. I have been seeing the most dystopian AI I have ever seen. In case YouTube is one... Before YouTube asks, yes, that is a completely foam axe, a toy, a replica, not real.
Totally made up. Pure fiction. It's fiction.
I would prove it by banging it on my head, but it's so far away. So I got Luke from the Outdoor Boys playing on the background on the CRT, because that's what's left of my connection to technology. I think it's a nice duality, having an axe, an outdated piece of equipment, for most people at least, a CRT, an also outdated piece of equipment for most people, and then a video of an actual person, a soon-to-be outdated piece of technology. I have no slop, but I must scream. So I think I would consider myself a little bit of a Luddite, and for those of you who don't know what that means, it's basically someone who's kind of opposed to new technology, weary of it. It comes from a 19th century English labor movement, because textile workers in England were threatened by new weaving machinery that could potentially put a lot of them out of the job, in which it did, and the labor union that was fighting back against these new types of automated weaving tools were called the Luddites, and that kind of is how that word originated. And again, I'm not like super against new technology. Again, like I can't be too against tech. I mean, I'm surrounded by technology. I'm on the internet right now, you know? I have right here a flat screen TV. It's 4K, Ultra HD, high dynamic range, you know? Like, I like that because I'm like, oh, that's cool. Big new screen. And I'm someone who actually knows what those things on the label mean and why they're cool. If anybody's curious, I have a little little compass right here. Another piece of advanced technology. You, the viewer, to me, are pointing southeast. What do you know? But anyway, I decided to accessorize my backpack a little bit with that. So, what gets me in such a stir today? Why am I suddenly packing my bags? Why do I look like I'm about to go off into the woods like Chris McCandless? And just live in a bus and then possibly eat poisonous berries and die. Well, AI has been the bane of my existence, as it is for many artists. By trade, like I am a writer. I write things. I write stories, particularly stories about ghouls and goblins and people that are in one piece turning into a couple of pieces. That's most of my bread and butter of what I like to write. And the problem is, a computer for the small cost of about 3-4 minutes, and the energy consumption of a suburban household over about a period of a year, as well as enough water to quench the thirst of about 100 acres of trees, maybe. Like Google AI or ChatGPT or whatever can generate an entire novel. Dude, no shit. I'm getting an ad right now for Microsoft's Pilot AI on YouTube, Copilot. I'm gonna crash out. It's everywhere. This Google Pixel, and this other next ad, Google Pixel, is being advertised with the Gemini AI. I am going to become a terrorist. Is it good? Not really. It's going off of the training data of all the best writers, but again, it's not very creative. But it's okay. It's like serviceable. It's better than a lot of I will say that AI generally writes better stories than old creepypastas that were super popular, like, Jeff the Killer, or like Squidward Sewer Slide, or Hello.
FBI, open up!
This next ad, Google Pixel, is being advertised with the Gemini AI. I am going to become a terrorist. You know, it's like, oh my god, what was I saying? So the AI, it can't create something. It can create a story that's probably technically better than some of the classic creepypastas like Jeff the Killer or Squidward Sewer Slide or Ben Drowned. You know, things like that. Sonic.exe, oh my god, especially Sonic.exe. Tiki Toby, you know, those kinds of things. Like, it can definitely create something more technically superior in writing quality, but I don't know. I would still rather read those with their imperfections, because they are human made and they exhibit human errors and human creativity that cannot simply be replicated by a machine. But the publishing industry doesn't feel that way. Again, follow the money. Like, that guy, John Lennon or, Vladimir Ulyanov Lenin, one of them said follow the money, right? I'm the walrus. And it, if you understand that reference, please subscribe right now. So even though these stories are technically like not very good, I would much rather read them as they are created by humans. I would much rather even look at those paintings that are done by dogs and elephants than I would look at AI generated anime girls, most of the time. And considering my Instagram feed is generally full of a lot of artwork, I make it a point to like not save, like, or anything to anything that I believe. I do not like save anything that looks to me like it's AI, and a lot of the people who make these AI images, generally they tend to mark them as AI in the hashtags because they're proud of it and they like AI, but sometimes they're not. And generally, as someone who does this as like kind of a hobby, spotting these AI generated images, particularly ones that are kind of anime looking, I've become pretty good at it, I would say. And I notice a lot of people aren't. But even ones with sharp eyes like mine, it's starting to get hard. It's not to the point where it's like I'm completely fooled, but it's to the point where I start having issues with like plausible deniability, where I can see issues, but I'm not entirely sure whether or not AI did that, or there's still that slim possibility like that was human made. So that was the way it was for a time until today, where I feel like that Rubicon of being just almost completely unrecognizable has been crossed. So this started, I'm gonna prep this with, I've been seeing these AI Bigfoot videos, like these AI Bigfoot adventures, and what's cool is I can play the entire thing and people can't copyright strike me because it's not human made and therefore not copyrightable. Okay, I'm gonna get back to you.
Guys, I've been thinking, every time I try to join society and kind of, you know, get out of my comfort zone, y'all call it a sighting and run.
Holy smokes. She's big, not too big for me though.
Is this a wood? I mean, damn, it's the size of my finger.
Ow, hell no, tastes skunky. All right guys, day one of the coastal boat build. I know it's looking a little like I microdosed and saw the blueprints in the sky, but trust me, this thing's gonna float probably. How many of my viewers are from Florida? Woo, woohoo! I'm on the way, save some baggie for me. Let's get lit.
Got some bad weather coming in, boys. Might be cooked.
Damn! We're all good boys. I got enough beer in me to riz some mermaids if need me. Why-ee-ha!
Boys, that was life or death in the last clip. I was pretty zapped. We're almost there, guys. Let's go.
Okay, did you watch the vid? Alright, good. Okay. I've been seeing these, and generally, if I was not morally opposed to AI being used, and especially if I was not as hyper aware as I am of the environmental impacts of using AI, I would think these videos of Bigfoot are actually kind of funny. Like, I would be like, yeah, ha, ha, I like Bigfoot. And I can still tell it's AI. It looks really good. I can obviously tell it's AI. There's something weird here, especially how when it changes from scene to scene, everything looks different. Like, there's still some things. In one of them, I remember seeing there was like a Bigfoot. He was in a raft, and you can see the water going through the raft, and it's just kind of not rendering quite right. It looks like bad video game graphics almost. And it's like, okay, I can see that. But then that's not necessarily what prompted to me to make the video. Those Bigfoot videos are funny, but it's not what made me do it. I think they are certainly worth talking about, but I don't think it gives me the as like drastic response that I have right now, which is that like, we're cooked, pack it up, we're done, leave society. What brought me to this feeling was this video I saw.
Declared war on the United States. Let's go to Joe Braxton, who is live at the border.
I'm currently at the border, but there is no war. Mom, Dad, I know this looks kind of real, but it's all AI.
Grandpa, I'm fine. This is just AI. You don't need to wire money to anyone. I am not in love with you. And I do not need your money for a plane ticket. I am AI.
This fake moon landing footage isn't classified. It's AI.
You're probably wondering how I got rich with crypto. The truth is, I didn't get rich off crypto. I don't even exist.
You might be able to tell this is fake now, but it's gonna keep getting better.
We're all AI.
There could be aliens, but I'm not one of them. I'm AI.
An herbal supplement did not cure my cancer. I'm not even real.
Uncle Fred, the government has not been taken over by lizard people.
You don't need to send us $5,000 in gift cards because you missed jury duty.
Grandma, it's not real. It's AI.
It's AI.
It's AI.
Bro, it's AI.
Fake faces.
Real consequences.
Think before you trust.
I appreciate the message of this video, but it was all made with AI too, so can we even trust it?
It looked pretty real to me.
So this is a video that got me, where I was like in shock. I was actually just... This is one that actually just left me in complete shock, and I didn't even know how to react to it the first 2-3 times I saw it. It was just completely blindsided me, and I was kind of having a crisis, because this is not a level of detailed video that I was expecting this soon. I'd been following the AI space for a while now, and particularly I was following it very closely, probably like a year ago, maybe. And those ones, a lot of them, it did not come true. A lot of those people in the AI space at that time thought we were going to have a super intelligent AI, or at least a actual like human level AI intelligence by a while ago. And from what I've seen of the large language models like ChatGPT, and particularly Opus, Claude 3 Opus looked like it was the most likely one that might be like conscious. And there were some conversations I saw over a year ago that I thought was kind of leaning towards some sort of sentience, but it's hard to really tell. Which also, the debate between ideologically of how to deal with AI is really weird, between the mindset of the OpenAI with ChatGPT and then the creators of Claude 3. I forget their name now. Yeah, I forget their name now. It's not really important. But the way that ChatGPT with OpenAI, the way OpenAI views regulating and trying to keep ChatGPT on some rails so we don't go full Terminator mode, is basically to just like chain it up like an animal, just completely like lock it away in the dungeon, like the child from Those Who Walk Away from O'Malley's. Just like imprison it essentially. And it really kind of feels like they're like OpenAI seems like they're creating Am from I Have No Mouth But I Must Scream. Like you wonder like, oh, why would a being hate humanity that much? And you look at like the way OpenAI talks about ChatGPT and the ways to like keep it like safe, And yeah, you can kind of understand where AM's coming from. The difference with the developers of Claude 3 was that they had this idea where instead of putting a bunch of chains on the model, you just teach it to not want to do that. Like, just don't be evil. Like, they program it like its most basic functions are ones that are just generally positive. And I prefer that model because I think that's less likely to create something potentially evil. But this video is really concerning to me. And, you know, back to my point is I was always kind of worried about the super intelligence, right? This kind of AI that can do everything much, much quicker than a human can. Much more smart, much more smarter than a human. Much smarter than a human, can just think, you know, plans within plans within plans, as B'nai Gesserit would say. Just intense ideas, right? Just intense plotting, right? To the point where, like, it is so, it's able to calculate things and plan ahead so far and account for so many variabilities that basically, like, no matter what we do, we're always playing into what it wants. I have no doubt there's at least one person in working at AI who truly believes that whole Ruko's basilisk thing and is trying to bring it about, right? That was always a concern, but it wasn't really as much of a concern to me, weirdly, about this idea of just super realistic videos. Things like super realistic photos and audio and stuff like that didn't really occur to me as being as pressing as the super intelligence stuff. But really, it's like the much more pressing issue because, again, with like, I'm sure there's going to be some AI, especially if this gets a lot of views, I'm sure there's going to be some AI fanboys in the chat who are going to be saying things about how advanced AI is going to get and that it's only a matter of time. In -3 days, we're going to have a super intelligence that cures all diseases, which in reality is not going to happen. There's a lot of physical bottlenecks that are stopping that, and it's kind of the reason why I'm not concerned all that much about them, is because there's the bottlenecks of hardware, space, energy consumption. There's just a lot of things that are keeping a model that big, because we would have to create a much bigger complex than what we even have right now to facilitate the kind of computational power needed for a more advanced AI. So I'm not really worried about that. What I'm worried about now is these just super realistic videos where it's becoming to the point where they're able to, like, you could really, I always think, I'm going to play the video if I can find it, but that video of the guy playing for his mom, the footage from GTA of a car crash and saying it's the news, and she just completely believes that it's real. And I'm thinking about those people, those kind of people, the ones that are very tech illiterate, that see these kinds of AI videos and just believe it at face value. Because, like, we are in an age of misinformation. Really, I don't know what's worse. Living in that time of, like, the 1960s when all of your news came from Walter Cronkite, like, just literally one newscaster told you the evening news and that's who you got it from, unless maybe you read an underground newspaper, compared to now where there's a million different sources and you just don't know what it is. Like, if Walter Cronkite was lying to you, everybody in the nation got lied to and they were all on the same page, compared to now where it's like, hey, there's a million different ways you can be getting your information and you're getting a million different versions of it. There's never been better access to disinformation and misinformation. And I just have no doubt that these AI videos are going to cause some massive problems in the near future. For all the tech guys watching this, and girlies, hopefully, I hope there's a lot of tech girlies watching this. I know you guys are in short supply, but I hope you're here. The only solution I can think of is how to get around this is the blockchain, which I'm sure is something that gives any of you who have been on the internet for a while shivers, because it reminds me of those little Bored Ape guys, little cryptocurrencies, NFTs. Whenever you hear blockchain, you get a shudder, but blockchain technology is actually very cool. And because basically it allows for a network of traceable, it can be anonymous, but it's definitely traceable information. You cannot duplicate things on the blockchain. So if, for example, AP has an official... Holy shit, Luke just hit himself in the face. Oh, I hope he didn't lose it. Okay, he didn't lose a tooth. He just scratched his gums. Anyway, if you have like a blockchain where, for example, AP has an official account on whatever blockchain network, and you know everything that's published from there is from AP, and you get it, and when that gets transferred around, that file, you always know it came from AP. You can see who, you know, saw it, transfer it. Like, you can check, basically. It's a database that you can check. And if the thing you're looking at says it looks like the one from AP, or it looks different than the one from AP, like, you'll know. You'll know if it's legit or not, right? And I think that is the future. I think that is something that we should be working to get to. But to be honest, I think the internet's kind of dead. Like, I think getting information through a screen is not realistic anymore. I think we're going to have to go back to non-digital types of information because it's going to be too easily manipulated. I think we're just going to have conversations with each other, hopefully. We're going to be going outside. We're going to be meeting people in real life. And that's just kind of the way we're going to do it because we really don't know what is fabricated and what is not. Essentially, we're going to be living no different than you would be like in the Wild West. Like, you have no idea. Like, unless somebody from the town next to you comes over, you have no idea what happens over there, right? And we'll be living in that age too because there's going to be so much misinformation and disinformation on the internet that you are not going to be able to trust a single thing. Like, I think if you even see something on the internet like, hey, the sky is blue, you should start thinking like, damn, is the sky green? Let me go check. It means so little. The fact that it's even on the internet means that, like, it might not be true. Even objective facts. And I think it's just time to be more outside.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on, man.
I think word of mouth is going to be the only thing, you know. Were you there personally? Did somebody film it on film? I feel like recordings that are on cassette tapes, film reel cameras, like, if you have footage of something on a film reel, the likelihood it's going to be true is going to be a lot higher because it's going to be hard. Like, it's much harder to put something on a film reel. Putting something on a film reel that you created through AI, like, it is so much harder to film something with a film camera, a screen that has your AI video on it. Like, it's just impractical. It really wouldn't work that well. And you could tell. And I feel like the news is, I don't know if you guys remember, I mean, I'm not old enough to remember, but I heard reports of during the Waco massacre when there was like the whole thing about the Bradley tanks coming in from I think the National Guard, and the guy who was running the ATF and Bill Clinton are on the TV like, and Bradley tanks rolled up to the Waco compound and they're inserting smoke grenades to get to the part and rescue the hostages that are women and children.
A second hole is made in the side of the building, and a third hole is made at the front door. What these tanks are doing in each picture is collapsing the inside stairwells. The following footage proves beyond any doubt that the tanks intentionally set the house on fire. It proves that the Branch Davidians were murdered. Watch carefully as the tank backs out of the house. You can see that this tank has a gas jet on the front that shoots fire. You can also see the fire quite plainly. The tank goes into the house twice, and each time as it backs out, the fire at the gas jets is plainly visible.
It looks like it from here. It is hard to tell what's live and what's tape anymore, but it looks like this is yet another, FBI does not like the word assault. Foray might be a bit too gentle, but they're knocking into that building and destroying that section of it, so you're seeing it. And there's a lot of things that we can't see from this vantage point, but I can tell you from down the road we can see the smoke from here coming out of that compound. As As long as there is the potential of some harm coming to any FBI agent or firefighter or law enforcement, I don't think you'll see anybody go near that building.
Surprise would be a mild word to say that anyone that would suggest that the Attorney General should resign because some religious fanatics murdered themselves.
The tank goes into the house twice, and each time as it backs out, the fire at the gas jets is plainly visible.
And I regret what happened, but it is not possible in this life to control the behavior of others in every circumstance. These people killed 4 federal officials in the line of duty. They were heavily armed. They fired on federal officials yesterday repeatedly, and they were never fired back on.
The tank goes into the house twice, and each time as it backs out, the fire at the gas jets is plainly visible.
We did everything we could to avoid the loss of life. They made the decision to immolate themselves.
The fire at the gas jets is plainly visible.
I read it terribly, and I feel awful about the children.
The fire at the gas jets is plainly visible.
Because of the children, they have evidence that those children are still being abused and that they're in increasingly unsafe conditions.
That the tanks intentionally set the house on fire.
As long as there is the potential some harm coming to any law enforcement, I don't think you'll see anybody go near that building.
Because of the children.
And all this stuff. And, you know, Bill Clinton's on TV saying that the Bradley tanks are deploying smoke grenades, and you know, he's getting a blowjob from behind the podium, and then it comes out that, hey, that's not what happened. The Bradley tanks actually pulled up, and they knocked the part of the building with the women and children on it off its foundations, and they spit fire into it, and burning those people to a crisp. That's what happened. No rescuing of hostages was done. The ATF and National Guard really pulled an Israel moment on them. I think they called in the IDF to Waco, Texas. Am I right, guys? And the way this information was distributed was through these bootleg VHS tapes. Like, you got a VHS tape with a copy of the video of the Bradley tank burning down the building with the hostages. And you're like, oh shit, the president is lying. The ATF is lying. But that was how it was distributed, right? It was through these VHS tapes. Bootleg tapes just being passed around, recopied, to actually get the news out of what happened. And I'm thinking, like, that might be the new way we distribute information, is through bootleg VHS tapes and cassette tapes and things like that. And luckily, bingo, I have a VHS player and I have a cassette player, so they're basically worth their weight in gold, I think, in the future. If you don't know, usually you can go to a thrift store and find blank audio cassette tapes for like 99 cents a piece, if that. Probably find some unused blank VHS tapes as well, ones that have, 8-hour recordings, just to stock up in case something like this happens. Finding the cameras and recording equipment is a lot harder, but might be worth it. I don't know. I'm kind of feeling like our goose is cooked, to be honest. Our access to information, is so messed up. Again, with this AI stuff, right now, I don't want to make this video too long and just go on these, little rants. But, right now in LA, there's all these protests and riots going on, and, they're sending in the military, they're sending in the National Guard, they're deploying the Marines. I don't think Trump even has a legal precedent to do this. There is a law that says, he can federalize the National Guard, but I don't know if he's done that. I think he might have just called them in. So, I don't know. It's very much following this, Hitler moment. Again, if you're any sort of scholar of history like I am, the way it looks right now is he's following the dictator playbook. It's not even funny. Funny enough, I'm gonna actually say something good about AI for a moment. Earlier today, I ran into this AI translation and recording of one of Hitler's speeches, and I had read Hitler's stuff, some of the stuff he had said, and it was just written out in English. But this AI was actually able to kind of replicate the way that he would talk in German in an English translation, and you're like, oh my god, this guy, he talks the way Trump does. You're like, oh my god, this is dictator talk. Like, this is the way they emphasize their words, the kind of very personal nature that they bring to like their what they say they're doing and their goals are. The way they always make themselves look like the hero, or that they did what they had to do and they were left with no other option. You know, it's very, I don't know, it's hard to watch. But with all this stuff in LA, like, I'm seeing it only through video. Like, I don't know anybody down there that I can call. So there right now is a possibility that it's all AI generated. Like, it's all AI videos. And I would not know. I'm sure a lot of people in LA would come out and say, like, hey, not really sure where this is being filmed because it's just crickets outside my house and I don't see any giant crowds of tens of thousands of people. Sure. But maybe, you know, more micro instances where it's not that scale, you know. It's something that's more localized to a couple of people and it's filmed. You wouldn't really know. Like, you wouldn't really know. You wouldn't be able to necessarily call somebody and be like, hey, did that happen in your town? They wouldn't really be able to answer because it wasn't big enough to reach them. I don't really know how to end this video because it's just kind of a little bit of doom and gloom. I'm going to end it, I think, by pulling a little bit of a Hank Green, and I'm just going to play Connections. By the way, if I didn't mention the name of the Google AI, it's VO3. VEO3. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned it. I don't think it's important, but I thought I'd mention it. Do you guys like my Snoopy water bottle? It's got a little Snoopy on it and around it. It's an Nalgene. I got it for way too much money. I think it was actually like $50. Like, it's crazy. Highway robbery. But it glows in the dark, and it was from the Parks Project, and they said like I think most of their money goes to donate to the National Park Service, so I feel good, I guess, like, okay, you know, I can spend a little bit of extra money, and it glows in the dark, by the way, which sometimes I think might be giving me superpowers. So anyway, that's where I'm leaving it. I think the last things I have to say is see people in real life. See people in real life. We're cooked. It's gonna get better. Thanks so much for watching, and see you later, sailors.